Hello, sci-fi gangsters. This is the show where we talk about comic books, video games, and science fiction. But really, it's just an excuse for me to catch up with my friends and to meet interesting people. I'm Anthony Denar, media scholar and person who just can't get enough 90s nostalgia. That's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about X-Men 97. Only 3 episodes have been released, from what I understand. CJ, you haven't seen the third one. Maybe we won't talk about the third one, but I've seen all three. Excited to talk about that here today. Let's go ahead and introduce our people here. We'll start off with the producer of the show, Acid. Acid, how you doing?
Oh, feeling wavy today. Feeling wavy. So ready. I'm more excited about the '90s nostalgia than you are.
Oh well, that's I'm glad to hear that. Now, me and you, Acid, we enjoyed a margarita together
We did.
last night.
It was
Uh,
I'm
it was a
extremely jealous.
beautiful bro moment, and I'm still feeling some of the effects of that margarita from last night.
okay, well,
That's how big it was.
you of course I got the medium, you got the large,
Yeah.
but it was definitely
Well,
it was
somebody had to
definitely
somebody had to drive, and that was you.
That's true. That's true. I had to drive. But yeah, it was very delicious, and of course, the food is always delicious as well. So
It was.
fajitas, I always get the steak fajitas. What'd you get again? Acid
I got the enchiladas.
enchiladas.
Yeah,
They
good
look
old
delicious.
enchiladas. Yeah, they were good. They were
You always
delicious.
got a cheese dip on there and on the side too.
I
We're
did.
just talking about orders now.
Yeah, I
So
know. And a nice pile of jalapenos, man, just right
jalapenos,
there.
add some jalapenos on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, yeah, we're talking about X-Men 97. Before we get to that, let's go ahead and introduce our guest here. CJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm living my best life. Thanks for having me, man.
Fantastic. And of course, you can always follow CJ on. You're still on YouTube. You're still on Twitch. Are you doing still doing
Yes.
Twitch?
Yes, I'm on YouTube, on Twitch as MD Soul, the most determined soul, CJ Berry. And of course, we have Soul League. We're having that going on this Friday. We'll get some of the top players with on this side of the Mississippi playing in my tournament that I'm hosting weekly. And then also on YouTube, we just hit 1,000 not too long ago. We're a little bit over 1,000 now, and now we're working on those watch hours. So yes, you can check me out on Twitch, and you can also check me out on YouTube.
All right. Well, fantastic. Once again, we'll get to our topic, which is X-Men 97. We'll talk about the things that we like, the things that maybe we didn't like. I don't know. Maybe there's something that you didn't like about X-Men 97. But first, what I like to do is I always like to catch up, right? So CJ's been a little bit since we've talked to you last time. So we'll go ahead and do our catch-up segment. And of course, if you know me, you know that I've been playing soccer. This is the first time I played an organized sport in how 10 years.
Oh.
So my body is slowly holding up. Of course, in order for me to play both games, Monday and Thursday, after the Monday game, I have to go immediately cold plunge. I have like a little cold plunge tank. I have to use a massage gun. I have to
Yeah,
ibuprofen. I got to
yeah.
stretch. Like I got to do all. Like I'm going full. Like I have LeBron James treatment going on
Dang.
here just to make it from
Okay.
game my Monday game to my Thursday game. By the way, if you have me on your fantasy soccer team, I have 4 goals this season, so I'm pretty
Four
excited about
goals.
that. Four goals, but yeah, so soccer going well. I do want to talk with CJ about Hell Divers, as you know, obviously, I've been hearing all the buzz on Hell Divers. Everyone's talking. I've been watching the reels. I've been watching the YouTube shorts on all the fun that's Helldivers. I've wanted to play it. I'm interested in playing it. Of course, when I play games, I usually just play it on the Xbox. I have a computer, but it's a very old computer, so it normally could not play Helldivers 2. I'm sort of looking into ways where I can perhaps play Helldivers, where I lower the settings, just upgrade the GPU, and maybe I'll get on. Maybe I'll play a little Helldivers. Maybe we'll go squad together. I don't know. Maybe CJ will join the squad. Maybe he won't. Maybe he wants nothing to do with me. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
it's actually it's honestly it's actually a really good game. It's almost similar to Apex where anybody can just jump in and join you and just have a great time. I think the only problem is eventually it's going to get a little bit repetitive, because it's about trying to spread democracy across the land. You're going to start hearing people say for democracy, right? and you're trying to eradicate the robots and the bugs from the planet. Very similar to Starship Troopers. That's why I like it. However, when it's hard, it's hard. Pause. Don't say that out loud. Don't say that to your girlfriend. But when it's hard, right? It's very difficult in playing. But if you're up for a challenge and you want to be killed a whole bunch of times and you want to kill other things a whole lot, it is definitely the game to play.
Yeah, it looks like a whole lot of fun. So, is it hard because you need to play with other players, or is it just hard because it's hard?
It's hard because it's hard. So it's like when you get swarmed. You know that part in Stormship Troopers, and you see all the bugs just come down, and everybody's just getting demolished. It's just like that, and you're just overwhelmed with bugs, and they won't stop coming until you throw a grenade in their horde hole or whatever you want to call it, and then it explodes. And the same thing with the robots. It might not be as many, however, how aggressive they are and how impossible it is to kill them sometimes. You're like, yo, I emptied out 2 clips on you and you're still not down. Why? So it's really enjoyable. I've been really enjoying the game these last 2 weeks. I thought I wasn't gonna enjoy it because I'm platformers, fighting games, RPGs. It's kind of my thing. But like with this one, for this being a third person shooter, I'm just like, yo, I'm for it. I am for it. And for that matter, you can play by yourself. That's just as fun. So.
Yeah, I'm really big on cooperative games. Like that's some of my favorite games are cooperative. So obviously, Monster Hunter World. Me and my squad had a fun time doing Monster Hunter World for a long time.
It's just like that. I should have said that. It's Monster Hunter with a crap ton more monsters.
There's a lot of bugs.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
looks like a whole lot of fun, and we may have a squad here. Look, so we got Acid.
Yeah.
We got CJ. Right, I'll bring somebody. We get a squad together. Sounds like a whole lot of fun. Obviously, I'm still playing Halo. Me and the squad went back to Halo, and we've been playing it, and it's a lot better than it was. Like it can so much better, more customization of your character, more game modes, more maps. The only problem now is the only people who are playing Halo now are really good at Halo. So like every match is grind. Like every match you have to put your aim, or you have no chance.
Helldivers is definitely hey, I don't play every day. I just want to do some stuff with my friends. It's a casual thing. We don't have you don't even fight against any. It's all CPU, and you're just trying to take over.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole lot of fun.
So there's no PvP in this game.
No, not or at least they're saying not yet. But it's like, whoa, we got Fortnite. You got PUBG. You got all those games like that. If you kind of want that PvP aspect, those games are perfect for it. But with this one, it's like it's really, really enjoyable just playing with your friend, killing bugs.
It seems like it's one of those games that just PvP would not work. Like Diablo. Like I know Diablo has PvP elements, but it doesn't really work for like the game. The game's not designed for player versus player. But,
Right. Absolutely. No, Monster Hunter, it wouldn't make sense for you to kind of do this battle out with your buddies,
Well, I bought a used GPU. It's going to be here Friday. I'm going to install it, and if the game runs, I guess I have to buy the game first to see if it runs.
Yeah. But you can return it if it's on Steam. You still can return it.
Yeah, you have 2 hours. If you played it less than 2 hours, you can return it.
You can return the game.
Yeah.
I got to do the whole like PC gaming thing all over again. Like, can I use my controller that I have now, like an Xbox controller, and just plug it in?
I use mine.
Yep.
That's all these PC questions that I have. So I already have a Steam account. I log into my Steam account. I buy the game.
I still use my combo breaker from last year.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Controller. Yeah, it's real good. That's my Diablo controller. That's what I use.
And then you can set that bird free that's in your computer. The one that's like tick tick tick. It's like you can set the bird free, man.
Like a Flintstone reference.
That's it.
What is going on here today? But definitely looking forward. We'll see. We'll see if the GPU works. We'll see if the game runs. I have a feeling it's not going to work. But according to YouTube videos, that you can lower the settings enough where you can play the game. This is also an older TV. Obviously, my best TV's downstairs with my Xbox console. This is an older TV on my older PC, so how good it will look, I don't know. I mean, does that matter? Does it have to look good to have fun? That's a good question. Huh?
I don't know. Unless you're playing Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch, I don't think it matters. Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch was horrible. But
I can yeah, I can see where a competitive game where you want to be able to see everything.
right. It also depends on your tolerance of graphics. Like, I'm not a big graphics guy. Like, does the graphics have to be perfect? Do I need to see the bead of sweat come down your forehead in order for me to enjoy the game? I'm just not that type of dude. Do I get the gist of it? I mean, if it's like glitching and stuff like that, no, absolutely not. I don't want to play it. But it doesn't have to have every bead of sweat, every alien poop that comes out their butt, because they do that, by the way.
Alien poop. All right.
I don't need. It's not necessarily for me to see that. I don't need to see the oil in the arm of a robot in order for me to enjoy the game.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
All right, well, excellent. I'm looking forward to that. So what's new with you?
Oh, we went to Boston a couple of weeks ago for my daughter's show choir competition. So we were there for 3 or 4 days. Right before St. Patrick's Day, we left on St. Patrick's Day to come back home, and they did well. They got second place, and
Nice.
the mixed group got third. So yeah, it was very strange to see that many groups, because there was a ton of groups. That many groups do equally amazing, because around here you've got like your 1 and 2 groups that are like super awesome, and then they're in the same age group but they look like they're in kindergarten trying to dance. So that your group's going to just decimate everybody else. So there's all these surrounding school systems here, but like Auburn and like maybe Enterprise and a couple others are like really good. And so when Auburn comes to town, it's like, oh, Auburn's going to win. It's just going to happen. And they have all year. But man, Boston, New England schools, holy smoke, they are really good.
Question: Do they do those classic poses at the end? And when they're done the performing and they do the pose and they breathe heavy, go.
I don't remember seeing any of those poses. No. But I will say,
the one I'm talking about.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Hands up.
Hands up. Yeah, that's more. I would say that would be more cheer competitions.
Okay.
Than it would be show choir competitions. But the technology now for like stage props is ridiculous. There are screens. There are lights. There's all kinds of stuff now. Like
so you went to WrestleMania pretty much.
Yeah, it's for the most part. So when you go and you see a performance at a school, whether it be a choir or whatever, and there's those risers, what I'm talking about,
right?
They're all different. Well, our mixed group, their theme this year was Noah's Ark, and the girls group's theme this year was Indiana Jones. And so the mixed group, they have the 3-tier risers, super nice. But on the front of it, they have these long screens, probably about this tall, but go the entire length of the riser. And there's 3 of them. There's 1, 2, 3 right there, and they've got like water graphics and flower graphics, and just, it's crazy. But like all the groups had stuff like that in New England. I mean, there was, I don't know, TVs and laser shows, and it was insane.
Yeah, that sounds so much fun.
Sounds like a very eventful time for you. Speaking of WrestleMania, are we excited about WrestleMania? Like CJ, we're I think this might be the first.
That's his excited look.
So it's on Peacock. So does that mean that can you just get Peacock? Do you purchase it?
It's no different than Netflix. It's the same thing as Netflix. And
because that's the NBC one, right? Peacock.
Yeah. So I'm like really excited. The Rock is back, fighting Cody. Like, there's just so much stuff going on. I'm just extremely excited for. So yes, I can't wait for what is next week. I think it is that is coming on. I'm super stoked about it.
Like The Rock is wrestling?
Yes.
Or is it? Oh.
And he's been back. He's heel now. I
Yeah. He's
I
a
definitely
super
love
heel
what
at
they
that.
did. I like you could tell like they messed up when they originally set it up to where the Rock and Roman Reigns, and then with the backlash happen, they were like, "All right,
Yeah.
so how do we make this work for us?" And the way they handled it was perfection, perfection.
You're
So it's
making people
been
bleed on screen again. I'm like, oh, like just recently, Cody beating the crap out of Cody Rhodes. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so freaking good. The only problem right now is CM Punk is injured
CM
and
Punk.
he won't be at WrestleMania to finish his story. But I'm really excited about this year's WrestleMania.
Well, I'll be excited because y'all are excited. How about that?
Oh, thank you. Excellent.
There
Hey,
you go.
CJ, anything new with you, real quick, before we get into X Men
Um,
'97?
just a wedding. I'm realizing that I'm getting older. I refuse to acknowledge my age. I turned 37 for the third time this year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, no, I refuse to go past 37. But when I went out dancing, I realized that my body's like, no, your face can look like it. You can have a youthful voice. You can shave your face and make you look very youthful. But my friend, you are getting older. And I couldn't tell if it was my kidneys from the drinking or it was my back from the dancing. But no
Mm.
matter how you put it, I was tired, I was in pain, and I missed church and I had to watch church on streaming. So
Well, there you go. We're all getting older. The big 4-0 for me at the end of the April. Big 4-0,
wow.
obviously.
Yeah.
I feel when I'm limping the next day after the soccer game, that's when you can't.
Yeah.
You don't got it anymore.
Are you going to have your usual party at El Ranchero with a large margarita?
I'm still debating with Olinda what we're gonna do. I might do party. I might do big party, and of course, Acid, you are most certainly invited to that big party. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get to X-Men '97, right? So what we'll do is we'll do three things that we liked or did not like about X-Men '97. Just kind of have a conversation about that. So each one of us will sort of open up a topic, a theme, and we can all chime in however you want. So I'll just go ahead and say, I've been enjoying X-Men '97, and so everything that they've done so far, I'm 100% on board with. Starting with, and I didn't know they were going to do this. Starting with the remake of the original intro.
Yes.
When I saw
Oh
that
my
intro,
gosh.
I was watching with because I wanted to wait to watch it with my kids because I wanted me and Victor to watch it together. I wanted to watch it with Lexi. The funny thing about it is Lexi's actually more into it than Victor is, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so I'm watching the intro and I'm almost crying. I'm legitimately almost crying watching that thing. So just like you can tell that the creators of the show are fans of the show, like these new showrunners. Another funny thing about it is I was telling you about this last night. It seems like the creators or the showrunners of this '97 version are big fans of Cyclops, and they want to do everything to make Cyclops look like a badass. Like I feel like that's what's happening. Like they're like, we're gonna do Cyclops right.
Yeah,
There's
Wolverine doesn't belittle him anymore. All through the 90s, he was like talking trash to him. Now Wolverine's not talking trash anymore.
Yeah, Wolverine is even kind of backing off him a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way like they open up the first episode is Cyclops just destroying dudes, right?
Yep.
Just like a little martial arts, but also throwing that beam. And of course, the superhero landing is what everybody's talking about online, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, it just seems like they're like the creators of this show were like, you know what? We're going to make Cyclops awesome. And I feel like they've sort of gone a long way to doing so. So I guess that would be my first answer would be the opening sequence. Like just being able to like going back in time. I like the subtle changes that they've done. I like that they included Bishop, although I'm a little worried after the third season, what's going on. And then I like that they added Morph.
Yes.
I like that they added Morph. So I like that Jubilee's almost like a full cast member now. Like Jubilee's not just like the kid anymore, but Jubilee's like, so I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, that's going to be my first answer.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the intro. I was about to say I want to call it a remix. The remake of the actual music itself was very full and beautiful, and I love it. But going forward from that, I've never been a huge Cyclops fan. I mean, I don't have a problem with him, but as far as who needs to be leading the X-Men after the Professor, I was never on board with Scott Summers leading the X-Men. I would have been more okay with like Jean Grey leading the X-Men. Not necessarily a Wolverine leading the X-Men. That didn't make any sense either. But like, just not. I don't know. For some reason, Cyclops turns me off a little bit, and I can't pinpoint it. I don't know what it is, but it's there.
Like I was a big fan of Cyclops growing up as well, because obviously in the animated series he has his moments, but in the comics, Cyclops
Yeah.
is a lot more badass in the comics. He's
Right,
still
right.
a good old boy, like but he's like his powers are more developed. He's more complex in the comics. So I felt like when if you're a fan of Cyclops, it's because you're a big fan of the comics. So I feel like the creators of the new creators were like, you know what, we're going to do Cyclops right in this series.
And I read some of them. I have some of the comics. I mean, I obviously haven't read all of them. Like I loved X Factor. I've got X Factor comics, some X-Men comics, X-Force comics. I've got some of those. But yeah, just growing up, I just never really cared for Cyclops.
All right, well, fair enough. All right, was that your number one answer? Your first answer?
Yeah, my first answer was yeah. Let's move to Jean Grey leading the X-Men. Let's go.
Oh, very good. All right,
Okay.
CJ, what's one thing you want to talk about?
Because we're doing this one at a time, because I have a few gripes. I'm gonna start with the positives first, right?
Okay.
And kind of harping on the idea of bringing the X-Men into a modern time. I think that's great. The taking concepts from other cartoons and other things, I think that's incredible. So, for example, when Cyclops is jumping out of the plane, he does a Kamehameha with his eyes.
With his eyes.
And floats down, and then it is in the pose, right? But the thing that people haven't noticed about this is the movement that he's doing. He's not doing a run to hit people. He's using his blast and pushing himself off the ground to hit the next guy. And it's part of his combo more than anything else. And I'm like, that's incredible. How come other people aren't thinking about these things when bringing back things like Batman? You have the sky's the limit when it comes to cartoons and animation, right? So put more emphasis on things that you won't be able, even with CGI, right? If you take the Deadpool movie that's getting ready to come out, I'm sure it's going to be incredible. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, but you're not going to be able to take Deadpool and make it look realistic by shooting the ground and make him spin around and kick people, right? You'll see that in the cartoons or in the video games. And they did just that. And I want to see more of that type of action within this animated series here. But that's also my beat. But I'll save that.
He wants to see Tekken combos in X-Men. That's what he wants.
Right.
We had a couple combos in there. We had the team up combos of Gambit, energizing Wolverine's claws. We had that one on there, and like throwing Wolverine up onto the Sentinel. That was
same thing
cool.
with Bishop. Bishop was Cyclops just beaming him in the back.
Yep.
Like, hit me. He's just powering up. That was cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. I'm all on board with that. To kind of bounce off what you're talking about, CJ. The reason why they're able to do it, the reason why they're able to be more creative and switch it up more, is because in the 90s I'm sure they had some sort of like technology, but you had to draw it.
They were limited.
Like, you had to draw the actual
right.
Like you were limited in terms of like your creativity and the time crunch. Like
right.
but when you have something like when you have complete like animation now, there's a lot more creativity. It's a lot easier to say, you know what if when Cyclops is jumping, he's beaming off the ground, and you could do that before, like it would take
Right.
time,
Yeah. Right.
and you didn't have enough time to do it. So the great thing about now is like you can sort of replicate the things that are in the comics, because when you're
Yes.
drawing a comic, you can be creative, right?
Right.
Versus versus an animated series where you might be more on a time crunch, that sort of thing.
Right.
But and obviously you're drawing more because you're making the animation versus
Yes.
like just one panel, right? So that's
No, you're
one thing
absolutely
about
right.
our contemporary time right now, is that you can do those things more. And also versus like a film, which CGI, that's incredibly expensive to have, a very creative and original and complex. That's why all the X-Men films, all the bad X-Men films, were just Magneto just throwing scrap metal in one direction.
Yeah.
Just
Right,
like the beams of scrap metal. Like, dude, try something else.
Yeah.
Like, but
Pick
and
up
then
a
Cyclops
bridge.
just sitting there blasting in one direction.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like, dude, guys, obviously this is not working anymore. Switch and do something else.
Yeah.
Switch it up. But obviously that costs money to be able to do that. So that's
Well, you're
definitely one of the
absolutely right.
positives of animation.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I guess that'll be my number two, right? My appreciation of the technology and being able to, obviously it's being inspired by the drawings in the 90s, but being able to have more creativity with it. So that'll be my number two. So Acid, we'll go on and move on to you.
All right. Let's see. What could be my number two? I've enjoyed the storylines so far. I'm not a huge... I was kind of hoping Professor would still be around in the beginning of this. Not saying that some magical existence and he comes back. I mean, anything's ever possible, but just knowing that, because you said you made it through the first two, right, CJ? So
Yes.
Storm has lost her powers at this point.
Yeah.
There is no Professor. So the story is pretty solid because no idea what's going to happen. It's kind of nice to be this into an animated series, and not feel like, oh, this is so corny. Why am I watching this? It's like, like when you go back and watch the Power Rangers, that feeling you get. It's like, oh, this is nostalgia. Oh, that was cool. Yeah, whatever. But like, this is like, oh gosh, like what's going to happen? I don't know.
It's well written.
It's very well written.
No, it is.
I don't feel that.
I love how Mr. Sinister's in there. Oh,
yes.
my goodness.
It's just, I don't feel that corniness that I do if I'm trying to go back and watch something like a Power Ranger or something else like that from my childhood. So that'll be my number two. Well written so far, storylines.
Yeah, it's well written. The story's engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They leave it on cliffhangers. You don't really know where it's going to go.
Exactly.
I have always been one of those X-Men fans that says you can't have Professor X. He's too powerful. Like it's just either you have to nerf him all the time,
Right.
which becomes tiring. It's like the same old thing. He loses his powers. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to use them. He's like, there's some sort of shield that the guy is using that he can't use his powers on him. He's way too powerful that you have to nerf him every time he appears. Right. So I've always been the opinion that it's just Professor X is just, it doesn't work for like a compelling, almost the same way Wolverine is.
Right. Yes.
More so the X-Men films Wolverine. Like he's too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like the comic Wolverine, like it seems like he's always getting like knocked out for a couple minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, which I'm okay with, because like if you make it to where he automatically heals, like he becomes too powerful, that's not very interesting. It's like right. But if like he needs a little bit of time to heal, that's a little more interesting. Right. So Professor X is not. Yeah.
In the movies, they make him like he's 6 foot some. Wolverine is a short dude. That's his name being Wolverine. And the second part of it is he's intentionally putting himself in danger. Thus, everybody's wearing blue and all that. He's the only X-Men character that's wearing all yellow. So he wants all the attention on him because he knows that he's one of the few guys that won't be injured. And so of course he should be knocked out first, right?
It's like they already knew there was going to be an RPG game come after this. He's going to be the tank, right?
Yes.
You got Cyclops as your DPS, and then you'll have, somebody as your healer back there. So video games coming. Let's just go ahead and throw that there. Whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, I'd be excited. I'm all for that. Obviously, I was a huge fan of the RPG X-Men game, and then the Marvel X-Men, or the Marvel RPG game. Was it called like Marvel Alliance?
Yeah,
I was a huge fan of that video game. So
Midnight.
Also like
Midnight Suns wasn't bad. I know
no, it wasn't.
I know a lot of people hated on it, but I spent about 300 hours in that game, and it was very well done for my
there was also a free-to-play RPG online X-Men or Marvel that was pretty fun. But yeah, so I'm looking forward. Definitely looking forward to that. So are we doing our second one? Are we still on the second one, CJ? Or where were we at?
CJ needs to do his number 2.
All right, here we go.
All right, so hear me out, guys. And I got a few examples here.
I feel like I'm going to disagree with this, but go ahead.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with because a friend of mine, Snake Balboa, he disagrees. He disagrees. However, I love the story. I'm enjoying the story. I love the way it's been animated, but I don't like the art direction. And the reason why I don't like the art direction is I feel like even though there's nostalgia, that the art still needs to evolve. I understand that there was a large gap in between, but you look at The Simpsons from the 90s to The Simpsons right now, it looks different, but in a good way, and it still makes you feel nostalgic. If you haven't seen The Simpsons forever, you go back and see a current episode, and you're going to go, oh, that's nice. But what I feel in this, and again, I understand that the 90s version was awful with the drawings and the proportions and stuff like that. But a part of me feels like it's nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, not just because. So the first example I have here it is, the Aladdin. All right. Aladdin looks incredible. We all can agree that Aladdin looks really cool. But then you get over here to the Return of Jafar. Oh my goodness, what are we doing? And I feel like, it's giving me Return of the Jafar type vibes, knowing that it's a Disney product, and they have irony here of the things I'm comparing to makes sense. It's a Disney product, and Disney knows better. It is what it is. Disney should know that, hey, we got to give it our all. Loki, it's a TV show, but it's been given the theatrical treatment, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the best example of this, talking about nostalgia, is The Rescuers. You guys remember The Rescuers as kids, but when they did The Rescuers Down Under, guess what they did? They upgraded the way it looked. This looks incredible compared to The Rescuers Down Under. We can all agree that it's the same art style, while at the same time, it's still paying homage to what it originally was. And for that matter, anything that's Disney does that. Hey, we're going to keep with the similar Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Bambi motif while upgrading everything else we have. But I feel like X-Men, they said, you know what? We know it was crappy. We're going to make sure it stays crappy, but we're just going to throw a new coat of paint on there. And I didn't want that. And for that matter, you take something like He-Man on Netflix, and their animated series. I'm not asking for an anime, right? And He-Man did that. It didn't make an anime, but it was like, it wasn't the exact same thing as the He-Man of the 80s and 90s. However, they made it more modern. And shoot, I fell in love with He-Man all over again. And I just think it's an injustice to X-Men to just take it and just like, you know what? We're going to take that same art concept and just slap this thing on there and just keep on triggering everyone's nostalgia, right? And for that matter, I almost feel like it's like the video games. It's a 16-bit or 8-bit game just for the sake of being 16 or 18, 16 or 8-bit. Not that it's supposed to be that way. And like you're supposed to look at something and go, yes, that's how I remember in my head. And you go back to it and like, oh, it was crap. Versus going, that's exactly what it is. And you go back to it and go, yep, same thing.
So it's kind of like the evolution of Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
So you have the original Super Mario, and then you fast forward a little bit, then you've got, or you have Mario Brothers, then you have Super Mario Brothers, for the Super Nintendo, your Super
Right.
Mario World, and then fast forward to 64, and that was horribly graphical, but it is what it is. And then, but I mean, look at it now. I mean, look at the Super Mario games that are coming out
You,
on the Nintendo Switch.
absolutely.
It still keeps
It's
the
still
theme.
Mario.
It's still
Yes.
Mario, still keeps the theme, but look how nice and smooth it is.
Yes. Mario Maker is a great,
Yes.
like, hey, we're
Yeah.
taking all that Mario stuff
And you can
and
do
we're going
whichever
to,
you want with it.
yeah,
You mix and match if you want to.
yes.
Yeah.
So now my pixels don't bleed. There's a lot of things that went into making Mario Maker great, and then they added a few things to it. So that's
While
ultimately my
X-Men
biggest
is
gripe.
while X-Men I would say or 97 is a little more crisp than the original was. Like it's a little more HD crisp
Right.
and more and it's brighter. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not as
Yeah.
polished.
It's not as like Streets of Rage, another
Yeah.
great one.
Oh
Great
yeah,
example.
perfect
We
example.
played Streets
Yeah.
of Rage as kids, one
Yep.
and two. The music was banging. It was
Oh,
great.
and the
Then
new
we got
one's great.
Streets of Rage 4 in a modern time. Oh, the nostalgia's here. I really enjoy it. I see all the bad guys. And then you go back and play Streets of
Yep.
Rage 2 and Streets of Rage 3. Like, yo, what the heck was
That's
I
it.
thinking? Streets of Rage 4 is
It's
way better.
way better.
I thought Streets of Rage 2 was the better game.
Shredder's Revenge.
Shredders, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's better. That it's incredible. It's incredibly done, and it's better than Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. And but it still keeps with the same spirit.
Yep.
That's my only beef. No, I have another beef, but that's my biggest one.
That's kind of what I was hoping they'd do with Final Fantasy VII Remake, but they
Yes.
completely butchered it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, CJ, well thought out argument. You had pictures, you had evidence to support it.
Yes. I knew you were a
understand-
professor. You're going to shut
I think
me
I
down.
understand your argument. Yeah, definitely Professor Worthy, definitely. But yeah, I understand your argument. I still disagree. But
Ooh, disagree.
I feel like I feel like the animation, it's clearly an upgrade over the 90s in terms of its
is.
smoothness, its slickness, and a lot of that has to do with it's completely animated. It's not
Yes.
it's not hand drawn. Obviously, you just a quick Google search on the X-Men cartoon bad pictures. Like you can
Oh, yeah.
find all kinds of just really bad drawings. But yeah, I find it. I feel like it sort of captures the essence of what the way the characters are supposed to look. Obviously, there's a couple. There's less butts. Like that's one thing everyone online is
I'm
complaining
missing
about.
Rogue's butt.
Rogue doesn't
Rogue was
have
thick.
her badunkadunk anymore.
Yes.
That's the one thing people are
Like,
complaining
squeeze
about.
my head with your thighs, Rogue.
That's one thing that they definitely want more of. But other than that, I feel like I've definitely enjoyed the animation, and yeah, definitely appreciate that it's sort of like it's a callback, but it's an upgrade too. So
Yeah.
all right, so we'll go ahead and get to our third thing here, and my third thing is the one thing that I enjoy about the show, and it's probably the one thing that a lot of people don't enjoy about the show, right? So, and that's the social commentary. Look, I've
Yeah.
always been. I'm a professor. I'm a scholar. I'm a huge fan of when comics make social commentary. The X-Men have always been like that since the 60s when they were originally created to be an allegory for marginalized identities. Obviously, people have made reference to the fact that Professor X and Magneto are basically
X, yeah.
Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. That's been argued many, many times. So obviously, sort of the allegories to, minority races, but also queerness as well, right? There's been a lot of people who have argued about how you could sort of paint those or connect those dots there. So many people from marginalized identities often appreciate the X-Men, right, for those issues. And I feel like a lot of the griping that's been going on. Acid, I know you've been saying that X-Men's going too woke, but that's a joke, by the way. But there's a lot of we'll just say toxic fans online doing what toxic fans do and complain about wokeness when they don't know what wokeness is, right? So I know there's been a couple of people upset that Morph is non-binary, which if anyone's non-binary, it's freaking Morph.
Why wouldn't he be?
Why wouldn't he be non-binary anyway? So people, the funny thing is, he never explicitly says it. The only reason why they know it is because during the credits at the end of the episode, it says they them, and people have like looked at that and go, see, it's woke, right? So
no, but he morphs into women and dudes. And isn't there an episode in the comic where
he's everything?
Come on, I'm not going there. No, sorry.
So once again, this is the one thing I do enjoy about comics. I do enjoy that we can have these kind of conversations, that they're allegories to these sort of debates that we're having and sort of our social moment. Yes, I definitely liked that there was people storming the Capitol in the episode. 100% on board with that. And the guy and the human, the rioter who like the superhero guy, like the guy with the gun and everything, loved it. Loved that it was sort of making a call to that, and sort of like the proud boy. He was a proud boy. He was a proud boy who hated mutants. But I definitely enjoyed that. I kind of also liked how they made a human bad guy that could potentially hurt mutants, which I find I like that. I feel like that needs to happen. Like you need to have a human bad guy that can potentially hurt the X-Men. So I definitely like that as well. So once again, I'm always on board with social commentary in my comics, and it makes me even happier when it upsets people. I guess so when I hear people griping about how comics are going woke, I guess it just makes me happy that people are complaining about that, because if they know anything about comics, they should know this has always been X-Men has always been about social commentary,
absolutely,
and that sort of thing, right? So it's kind of ridiculous. So that's going to be my third answer, is the one thing that I definitely
like enjoy. You can't kind of piggybacking on that. It's like you can't be a racist comic book collector or a person that's in there, or for that matter, against the LGBTQ, because it's, to your point, there's always that social commentary. If you're not like, if you want to use the word woke, but if you haven't understood the message and what they're trying to tell you, are you really reading comic books?
I don't think they are. Or if they are, they're ignoring that message.
Right.
They're most certainly ignoring the message. And I feel like this is something that I've discussed in my comic book studies class. Right. And so back in the day when they would have this social commentary, they kind of had to hide it because it wasn't accepted. Like the conversations about race and identity and that sort of thing, you couldn't necessarily blatantly have these conversations because you couldn't publish the comic. So what you would do is, rather than talking about race, you would talk about mutants, right? Or rather than talking about marginalized identities, you would talk about superheroes and mutants and the oppressed, right? So you'd say mutant rather than race. Now you can we're having the conversations, right? But the reason why people are now thinking that the comics are going woke is because we're no longer referencing the allegory anymore. We're just come out and saying it
flat out.
And that's why they think, oh, all of a sudden comics are going woke. It's like, no, we've always had that conversation. We had to mask it, but
right.
There you go. That's my Professor Dinar lesson.
Nick Fury can't be black.
I feel like you should have put on your robe and your graduation cap for that.
Very good, but it always kind of annoys me when toxic fans talk about wokeness when they have no idea what they're talking about. And of course, Acid, I know you said you weren't a big fan of Storm and Bishop being on this series, but that's a joke as well, by the way. He didn't say that. I'm just joking. But yeah, so that would be my third answer. All right, next, Acid.
This one really isn't like a hate or love or anything. I just want to talk about it, just because I didn't know that this was a thing, and two, when this happened, I was kind of bummed. Okay, so Magneto shows up
I think I know where you're going with this, but please
I do
go.
not like his fit. Oh my gosh.
Magneto shows up. That's fine, whatever. But now he's like a good guy all of a sudden, and I'm like, okay, well, all right,
Well,
I can kind of get on board with this. Professor's gone. They were like BFFs, and he's left his old will and testament to take over the X-Men, and I'm rolling with that. I'm like, okay, let's see where this is gonna go. But what really kind of bummed me out is up until now, you've got Rogue and Gambit, and they love each other, and it's such a beautiful moment, And then all of a sudden, you've got Rogue and Magneto, I assume, doing the buck nasty, behind closed doors in the professor's office, which is that's totally wrong. And then, of course, but how bummed were you when you saw that Gambit see Rogue leave? I mean, I was kind of like, oh, is this what we're doing now? Like, come on.
Yeah,
I was bummed, man. I didn't know who to be mad at. I'm like, what, am I supposed to be mad at Rogue? Am I supposed to be mad at Magneto? Am I supposed to be
new outfit?
Yeah, well, that is a little weird outfit, but am I supposed to be okay with it?
That's comic accurate. And Rogue and Magneto relationship is also comic accurate as well. So, of course, everybody's had a relationship with everybody. In the comics.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a thing. But for one, I didn't know that Rogue's powers didn't work on Magneto. Like I'd never gotten that information.
I can't remember the explanation for that. It has something to do with his powers that somehow it doesn't affect. So if he's the only zaddy, right? That's what everyone's saying online, that if he's the only zaddy that you can touch, then maybe that's the route that you need to go.
Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. But anyway.
I do feel bad for Gambit. I feel like Gambit deserves better than that.
I know. I mean, just his demeanor and his educational prowess, if you want to go like that.
Maybe that's the one gripe I do have with the show. I don't feel like Gambit has had a chance to really shine yet.
Right.
No, he hasn't. And he, as of now, he kind of, other than his cool powers, he just kind of, I feel like he's just a dumbass, I'm just, Gambit okay now, like right. What?
He's talking weird speech. Yeah.
He talks about himself in the third person, and he's like, oh, Gambit good. Gambit feel better, I'm like, what are you, a caveman? Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, hopefully in the next couple of episodes, we'll be able to see Gambit do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so are we on our last one? Acid just did his last one.
That was my last one. CJ's going to wrap it up. Yeah.
All right.
He's going to give us more pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. I sure will. So it's about the new characters. Like, I know it's accurate with Magneto, but I'm like, geez, you could have done that just a little bit better than how you present it. You got the Rocky Horror Picture Show gloves on and stuff like that. I'm just not feeling that. They could have just done that a little bit better. But now let's get to something like Storm. I'm like, okay, I'll play that game. She has a mohawk now. Cool, that's what's up. But Bishop, he needs to have the Ice Cube Eazy Jerry curl, just like right here. I hate that they cut off the Jerry curl. I was really, really upset that the Jerry curl was gone. And it might be easier to draw Bishop without the flowing locks. But I kind of like the Razor Ramon or Ice Cube Jerry curl that he had. And to me, that's a great way to identify a character through hair. There's a lot, think about it. There's a lot of people out there that are identified through hair, whether it's Stevie Wonder, whether it's Ice Spice, whether it's Lil Wayne. The list of stuff goes on, and including you guys. Hey, Anthony, he has a little cowlick. Acid, he has the big, and CJ. No, I don't have a haircut. Normally, I have a part in my hair. But he does not have said Jerry curl that I love, and I need it back. The other thing is, I think everybody's talking about is the Rogue butt.
We're gonna talk
I
about the
am
rogue butt.
Okay,
I'm
let's
just
talk about
really
it.
disappointed that she doesn't have her butt. I mean, look. This is the reason why she got behind Captain Marvel, zapped her from her powers, and she zapped her butt. That's what happened when she held on way too long,
That's
and
it.
she zapped her butt also. And that's not body shaming. It's just I know what I like. I like my robe thick, like molasses. You know, every opportunity they have for Rogue to fall down on the ground, I need to see those patties. Don't tell my wife, but it's just a cartoon. That's what I told her. But I just need to see. So that goes back to kind of my original thing where I just feel that they are a little bit lazy there. It's easier to draw just straight hips versus hey, we're going to put a little bit of curves there and we're going to stay consistent. Remember
I
they are in.
wonder. I wonder why they did that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a conscious thing. They were like, you know what? We don't want to sexualize Rogue all the time, and if we do the big butt thing, then it's just going to be about the butt. I don't know. I'm curious about
Man,
how.
spread the wealth. Make sure Cyclops has patties too. Go back to LGBT. Those guys need love. They don't want to see Rogue butt. They want to see Wolverine and Cyclops butt. It is what it is. I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna look, but I want to see like Storm. Hey, she has a new outfit. I need to see Storm cheeks. It is what it is. You get the
You know what?
thunderclaps. I'm okay with that.
Literal,
I think.
Yeah,
literal
see, you like
thunderclaps.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
Yeah, I think you're making an argument that I'm on board with. I'm definitely I'm on board. I put cheeks on everybody. Put
I think
Cyclops cheeks.
I think it
You get cheeks.
goes
You get cheeks. You get cheeks.
I think it goes back to what you were saying, Anthony, about sexualizing just everything about
Right.
any show. Because I mean, I used to play Hearthstone a good bit, and when it first came out, there were a lot of cards that had lots of cleavage and some butt cheeks and all that kind of stuff. Well, as the game progressed, they took that stuff and changed it and took it away. They took it all away because somebody or a group of somebodies complained or screamed loud enough so you could hear them. I don't want butt cheeks anymore. It's sexualizing the game or whatever. And
Well, yeah.
we could all probably
It-
guess who that
It'd
is,
be
but
yeah, it'd be one thing if he said boobies. We didn't say boobies. We said butt cheeks. Everybody has
that's
butt
right.
cheeks.
I don't have any. But
You just
I work
your poop
to
just
mine off.
drops.
They're just I can't even wear belts anymore. I pull my pants up. It's like a frog. It's like frog pants. Just
Got to work on those squats. Get that booty up. Right?
yeah.
All right. Well, very good. That's what we all talked about. X-Men '97. Some of it was more mature than others.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love the
Anything
immaturity.
else? Anyone wants to? One final remarks on X-Men '97.
Going back to Morph, I do kind of see Morph as the hey, this could be what's going to like upcoming characters because Morph has transformed into several characters that we haven't seen yet. Like
Yeah.
like I know you haven't seen the third one, but I mean there's just like a glimpse of like Magic was in there,
Yeah.
and just a few other just oh my gosh, are they going to show up later? Where they show up like Colossus, like
I
yeah.
feel like Morph is like the Easter egg guy. Like,
Yeah,
he's just gonna
exactly.
make references throughout the entire
Yes.
show. Like, oh, look, it's this and this. It's pretty.
and
It's pretty
I'm
funny.
ready
Right.
for it. Yeah.
Well, I guess my ender part here is I'm just ready for all this stuff to evolve. We talk about nostalgia and all that good stuff, but nostalgia can only take you but so far, and it can only cover up bad writing for so long. Not saying that this is bad writing. I'm just saying making a general statement here. It only can cover up flaws, but for so long. So I take the TV show The Simpsons, and it's evolved. It started off with the focus of Bart Simpson and the day-to-day and this bad kid and his family, right? Then they shifted to Homer, and now they're kind of like in this because of everything that's going on in society right now. They kind of shifted to Lisa. Same thing with South Park. There was a lot of potty humor in the beginning, and then it's evolved into this great social commentary. That I mean, it still has some silly stuff in it, but it's great. It's really, really great writing. And I just kind of want that same thing from X-Men. They have tons of material that's out there, but I just want that material in this space to evolve past this original story. And I get it, Cyclops sells, Wolverine sells, all these guys sell, but it's time to kind of move on to see everybody else and just bring it all together. And I want to be able to, for the next 5 to 10 years, when we're all 50, I want to be able to at least grow with this, because we didn't get an opportunity to grow with them from the 97. I should have been, I feel like I've been swindled, bamboozled, because you didn't give me an opportunity to continue to grow with them all the way through high school. And as I'm graduating high school, going into college to kind of end it, I want to grow with my cartoons.
All right. Sounds good. Excellent. Very good. All right. So we'll go ahead and say goodbye to the audience here. Once again, you can check out all our episodes, podcast form, YouTube form. We talked about X-Men 97. We'll probably talk about X-Men 97 throughout our show. Maybe we'll come back and do another once the series has concluded. Maybe we'll come back and do another episode. But that is it for today. Goodbye, everybody.